Hi guys, you're watching Icse Concepts and I am Divya and Ekta. Today I am here to complete this chapter, Introduction to Java. I have already uploaded the first part of the video. If you haven't watched it yet, please go for it, and if you have, then let's quickly wrap up this chapter with the final explanation. So let's get started. So guys, the first thing that we are going to discuss is the structure of a Java program. Now, before we sit down to write any program, it is very important for us to know the basic structure of the program written in Java language. Here, as you can see, I have taken this example, and using this I am going to explain you various sections one by one. So let's see what the first section is. It is nothing but the import statement. Now, what is an import statement? As the name itself suggests, import statement instructs the compiler to import a class which is predefined in a package in the Java library. Now this package is simply a group of classes which are already defined in the Java library to help us during coding. This import statement is generally the first line of your program. One more thing, this is an optional section. Why? Because we have to use this only when we want to import a class. Otherwise, we can simply neglect this. Now, as you can see here, import java.util.scanner is my import statement in this example. This statement simply means that I want the compiler to import a class scanner which is defined in the util package of Java library. So, this util is the package name and the scanner is the class name which is inside this util package. Now, as I told you, the package has many classes inside it. So if we want to import all the classes, we can simply use the symbol asterisk in the place of class name. This is all about import statement. The next section is the class definition. I would like to mention here that this is a compulsory section. Why? Because as I already told you in the first part of the video that without the class there cannot exist any concept of objects. So class is just like the container which holds your program. It's a model, it's a template based on which objects are created. So without a class there is no meaning to your program. Here, as you can see, I have mentioned class and I have mentioned the name ABC. This is the class definition along with an opening and closing braces. These braces marks the very beginning and ending of the class. The next very important section is the main method. This main method is the very beginning of your program. When we execute the program using Java interpreter, the runtime system first calls the main method, which in turn calls the other methods. So a main method, you can understand, is like a reception of an institution or, for example, a hotel. What we have to do is to first confront the reception with a receptionist when we go into a hotel. Now, only after getting ourselves enrolled, we can avail the facilities or the rooms of the hotel, right? This is exactly the case with main method. First of all, compiler has to check the main method and then only it can enter the program. So this is the importance of main method. It is very important to define a main method. As you can see here, I have already defined it in my example. Public static void main string arguments. This is the syntax of writing main method, again with an opening and closing braces. Between these has to be the body of your program. Now, last but not the least is the documentation section. This section is again optional. Now, this documentation section is all about writing comments inside your program. What are comments? Comments are the remarks embedded inside the program. It is used to define the purpose, or you can say the course of action of each step in the program. Now there are three kinds of comments. First is a single line comment. Next is a multi-line comment. And the last is a documentation comment. Single line comment enables you to write a comment using one line. Unlike that, multi-line comments help you to write comments using several lines. And the last, documentation comments, helps you to write comments again in multiple lines, but it also generates an external documentation source about the code. Now this documentation comment will be out of scope, so I'm not going to discuss it, but definitely I'm going to tell you how to write all these three kinds of comment. So single line comment is simply written using double slash. Multi-line comment starts with a slash, then an asterisk, and then ends with an asterisk and a slash. Documentation comment starts with a slash and double asterisk and ends just like multi-line, that is with an asterisk and a slash. So this was all about the structure of Java program. Obviously you can have other things like methods or various subclasses, but that we're going to discuss one by one in upcoming videos. Okay, so after all this, I know some of you must be having certain doubts like, is there always a particular way of writing the program? Or maybe doubts related to certain words or punctuations? I know these are common doubts, even I used to have them. But the answer for all these doubts lies in understanding the grammar of Java language. Yes guys, like any other language on earth, Java also has certain set of rules that it follows. And understanding it is a very important step before writing a program. So we need to discuss certain things to get into this. So the first amongst them is character set. What is a character set? Character set is a set of characters or symbols that a language recognizes. So Java also has a set of characters and symbols that it recognizes, and it's called Unicode character set. This Unicode character set is a combination from many languages. It has some facts. Let me tell you, it has 65,536 unique characters, out of which first 256 belongs to ASCII. That is American Standard Code for Information Interchange, which is a very popular character set. Another thing is that it is a 16-bit character set. Now the next thing is tokens. What are tokens? The smallest unit of a statement written in Java program is called a token. Or you can say the smallest unit which is meaningful to the compiler of Java is called token. Now there are 5 kinds of tokens. See, the first is keywords. Next, identifiers. Next, operators. Fourth, punctuators, or you can say separators. And the last is constants or literals. So these are the 5 kinds of tokens that we are going to discuss, and let's see them one by one using an example. Okay, so here I have taken an example of a program which asks to add 2 numbers. Now these 2 numbers I have taken 10 and 20, and simply I have created a class and a main method inside which I have added the number and displayed the result. Now using this I am going to tell you various tokens. The first one is keywords. What are keywords? Keywords are the words having special meaning. to the Java compiler. Words that have special meaning to the Java compiler are called keywords. By this I mean to say that words which represent a particular task is called keyword. Now this keyword cannot be used for any other purpose in the programming. Why? Because for example, see, the word public here indicates certain meaning to the compiler. Now if I am going to use public for any other task, how the compiler will distinguish? So it has a restrictions of using it only at the appropriate place. The words like static, void, main and class, system.out.println, all these words are keywords. They have special meaning to the compiler. Next comes identifiers. Now identifiers are the names given to certain parts of the program. Now, names given to certain parts of the program. What are these certain parts? Names given to class, names given to methods, arrays, objects, all these names are called identifiers. Like add, class add. Add is the name of the class. This add is an identifier. Why? Because it doesn't have any particular meaning to the compiler. It is simply a name that we have given. Now there are certain rules that need to be followed and that need to be kept in mind before writing the names. These rules are that identifiers can be of any length, can have any combination of characters, digits and symbols like underscore and dollar only. By only I mean that except for this underscore and dollar, there are no other symbols allowed while giving names. Third rule is that it cannot start with a digit. Last but not the least, identifiers are case sensitive. What do I mean by case sensitive? I mean that compiler treats uppercase and lowercase words differently. For example, if I write digit and I write digit, both these words will have different meaning for Java compiler. So it's a case sensitive language. Now let's move on to the next token, which is operators. What are operators? Operators are the symbols that perform specific operation on operands. What are operands? Operands are the data values involved in the program. Now, how will I illustrate this? See this statement, RES equals to 10 plus 20. Here, the operation being performed is addition. The symbol used is the plus sign and the operands involved are 10 and 20. So the operands are 10 and 20, symbol is plus and the operation performed is addition. So this plus symbol is called operator. Next thing is punctuators and separators. Punctuators and separators again are the symbols which are used for grouping or separating certain units of the statement. Now there are in total 9 punctuators, which are opening braces, closing braces, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, opening square bracket, closing square bracket, a period, a semicolon, and a comma. These are the 9 operators that we use in Java language, and these will be discussed shortly. First of all, let's discuss what are constants. So constant, as the name suggests, are the values or data that remain fixed during the execution of the program. Yes, the values that remain fixed, that do not change during the execution of the program, are called constants. There are 4 kinds of constants: numeric, non-numeric, boolean and null constant. Numeric constant can be 10 and 20. Non-numeric constant can be res. Now how will I distinguish that whether it is an identifier or a constant? By using the keyword final. If I write final before this statement, this res will become a non-numeric constant. So here is the table that states the purpose of all the punctuators that I mentioned right now. Alright, so here we are at the end of the chapter, and our last topic is data types and variables. Let's start understanding this with the help of an example. Suppose you go to a railway booking counter and you want to book a ticket for yourself. Now in order to do so, you need to first provide certain details to the person at the counter, like your name, your age, your phone number, train name, seat and things like that. Now all these information are of certain kinds, like your name and train name is a string of characters, whereas your phone number and your age is a numeric data type. Similarly, in Java, the compiler must also be informed about the type of data that you're going to store in the variable. This is done using data types. But first, let us understand the concept of variables, and then we'll come back to data types. So, if I have to talk about variables, I will say variable is a kind of container that holds your data temporarily. Now, this variable has a certain type and size associated to it, which is determined by data type. Let's talk about the definition. So, a variable is a named memory location that stores your data temporarily. This variable word means changing. That means we can always change the data stored in the variable during the execution of the program. Now, this variable has to be an identifier. So, a variable name should always follow the rules of naming, just as I told you in case where I was telling you about identifiers. Now, let's quickly move back to data types. Data types, after this I can say, is a data storage format that a variable holds to perform a specific task. Or you can say that a variable can store to perform a specific task. Now this data type, as I told you, determines the type and size of the variable. Now there are 2 kinds of data type. They are primitive and reference data type. Primitive, as the word itself says, is a fundamental data type. I am writing it in short, DT, that forms the integral part of the programming language. Example of these are byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, and boolean. Now I have written these 8 data types in this way because I want to group them into 4 categories. This is integer data type, this is real data type, character data type, and boolean data type. So they are grouped into 4 categories. Let's come to reference. Reference means address. So this data type gives you the address of the value stored rather than giving you the value itself. Now reference data types are created using primitive data types. Okay, the example are classes and arrays. Now after this, the last thing we need to discuss is declaration and initialization of variables. See, declaration and initialization are different. Why? Because declaration simply means mentioning and initialization means assigning a value. So when I have to declare a variable, I can simply write the data type and the name of a variable and put a semicolon. So the syntax is data type and the variable name. Now if we want to declare 4, 5 or any number of variables of same data type, we can do so by using comma. Like integer, a, b, c, all these 3 variables are of type int. So we can declare in this way also. Now comes the initialization. For initialization, there are 2 processes. First is static initialization, the next is dynamic initialization. Now by static initialization, I mean giving the value at the time of declaration itself. Like I declare a variable int a and I assign the value 5 to it at the time of declaration itself. This is static initialization. On the other hand, dynamic initialization means assigning the value during the execution of the program. Like I write int a equals to b plus c. This way the value to a will be assigned during the execution, that is when b and c will be added in the program. This is how it works. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed learning, and if you did, then please like and share the video and do subscribe the channel. Moreover, if you have any doubts, please feel free to leave your comments down in the comment section, or you can always email us on the ID given in the description box. Till then, stay tuned and keep learning. Thank you.